Something I see a lot in my comment section is this general anxiety about how much planners cost these days. I think there's a sense that we're each spending too much on our planners, and maybe everyone in general all over the niche is spending too much money on planners in general. So I want to share some facts and figures from my own budget just to inject some real numbers into this conversation. And because it's me, we're going to do some reflecting on those purchases and how they made me feel and if I would make them again. But before we dive in, I just want to make one thing abundantly clear. This is not about judgment. Not judging myself, not judging anyone watching this. We all have different budgets and priorities and relationships with our planners and supplies. This is just me being transparent about my own spending because I think it's something we don't talk enough about in the planner community, and I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. Before I get into my personal numbers, let's talk about the planner and stationery industry as a whole. Now, did you know that the paper planner market was valued at over $7 billion in 2023? Despite all the options available. Hello, cat, will you be in the video? No, she's deciding she won't. She's deciding she will go on the windowsill instead. She's about to mess up my lighting is what she's about to do. Despite all the digital tools available, physical planners are actually growing at about 4 to 5% annually. It's just something about putting pen to paper that keeps us all coming back. And you guys know how I feel about that. I really like putting pen to paper, so I'm definitely in the target demo for this. And when it comes to consumer spending generally, the average planner enthusiast among us spends like $150 to $350 annually on planners and related accessories. Also, I should mention these figures are in USD, so translate accordingly for your country of origin or your country of plannerdom. So planner enthusiasts spending between $150 and $350 annually on planners and related accessories. Now, planner addicts, meanwhile, the top 10% of consumers in this category spend an average of $500 to $800 annually on their planning systems and accessories. Whew, I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't very much in danger of being part of that demo. But here is the interesting part. Studies also show that about 68% of planner users purchase more supplies than they actually use. I don't know about you, but I feel really seen by that statistic in a very bad way. Of course, the biggest spending seasons are pretty obvious if you have been in the planner community for a while. So getting my handy calendar out here so I can point to months. Of course, peak planner season is July through October. So this sort of like second half of the year, quarter 3 of the year is a huge planning spending season. This is when new yearly planners come out. Like I've seen them as early as the end of June, as late as October, but a lot of them happen in this August and September region, which means that our collective FOMO also hits an all-time high in this season because people are buying, our friends are buying, the creators we follow online are buying, and we are seeing a lot of content about a lot of planners. I definitely make most of my planner purchases during this time of the year, but there's also a second peak around December and then January of the following year where people are making New Year's resolutions and getting a fresh start. I would say planner addicts are probably spending more money in the July to October range just because we are typically up on planner releases, but planner enthusiasts, those of us who are a little bit less intense about our planners, those people enjoy a little bit more wiggle room. Must be nice for them. Can't count myself among them. I am firmly in the addict zone, but must be nice. Okay, let's transition to talking about my actual spending. So what you see on screen here are some of the products that I will be talking about that I spent money on during the period of time that I will be reviewing. Not this guy, actually. This guy was a gift, but I would have bought it. So it would have added like $15 to my total, but it was a gift. I went through all my receipts, orders, and credit card statements for the year 2024. So preparing for my productivity in 2025, what did I buy, or maintaining my productivity system, my planner and stationery hobby in 2024, what did I buy? And I found that I spent a total of $722. She's not beating the planner addict allegations, okay? She's not. What this breaks down to is about $181 on actual planners, $97 on notebooks, $109 on accessories like pens, stickers, and washi tape, and $236 on covers. Yes, Just the covers were $236. Jesus Christ. Also, there's about $100 of shipping, give or take, in there, and some taxes that are not included in this final estimate. But that is a basic breakdown of what I spent. Whew. This is all planner stuff that I bought for me. So obviously I'm a planner channel, and sometimes I buy things to try and test for the channel, but that comes out of a separate budget that is strictly for channel related expenses. I am just talking about myself as a consumer, what I bought that I thought I would use in my personal systems. That is what I'm talking about with those budget numbers. So yeah, I'm not beating the planner addict allegations. And all that money comes from orders from like Sterling Ink, Full Focus, Hobonichi, Jet Pens, Paper Test Designs, as well as some scattered Amazon and Etsy stuff here and there. But seeing it all laid out like this is pretty eye-opening. I spent more on planner covers than on the planners themselves, and almost $100 just on shipping things to my door. That's so much money just for shipping. It's definitely motivating me to try fewer international brands this year. This year I tried 2, and I usually just try 1, and both of them had like $30 shipping. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you might remember that the previous year, 2023, I was not feeling great about my planner purchases. I felt like I was buying too much and just not using enough of what I had, so I made some intentional changes this year. First, I cut down on the number of planners I bought, okay? Last year, I had like 6 different planners going on at once, which was just too many, and I justified it by saying, I'm testing these planners out, but it just didn't really work out. So this year, I narrowed it down to 3 core planners or notebooks in my system. First one is my manager's notebook. You guys have seen this a lot on my channel. I've been pretty regularly using it in the beginning of this year. It's been kind of a hit or miss for me so far. I'm still struggling with some of the layouts. Like you can see, none of the quarterly stuff at the beginning is filled out, but I do get a lot out of these blank pages and also out of the weekly layouts. But I intentionally bought this one as my experimental planner. Instead of buying like 3 experimental planners, I just bought the one. And so far it's going pretty well. It is definitely an experiment, but I'm getting a lot out of it. The second notebook / planner I have for this year is my Pocket Moleskine notebook. I did not purchase this one for myself, this particular one, but I totally would have anyway, so I'm including it in this intentional purchase list. I have a video about how I use this. I will leave it linked up in the cards, but essentially this just goes everywhere with me, and if I have a thought or an idea or a plan or anything, I just write it down in this notebook. And then the third intentional purchase I made was my common planner, specifically the undated common planner. And actually, this was the best purchase I made all year. I got it towards the end of 2024, and I moved into it actually in November. Where's my November spread? November! I moved into it in November because I just couldn't wait to use it. But this was the best purchase I made during the 2024 year, because having an undated planner, which means like none of these weeks up here are actually dated, I have to plug in the dates myself, it totally removed the feeling I had of wasting dated pages. And I bought it specifically for that purpose because I love Sterling Ink's products. I've used dated copies of her planners for the past 2 years, and I love her products so much. I just literally couldn't imagine going a year without her common planner in my life, but I only wanted to buy one dated planner, one experiment, one go ahead on that. So that was my manager's notebook, and I really wanted a common planner in my life. And it's actually allowed me to do so much experimenting. Like you can see all these tabs. Currently, I'm trying David Allen's like getting things done method in the back of my planner. So I have like a whole flow chart here, my inbox, I have my next actions list. I barely just started. So yeah, you can see that this experiment is going okay so far. And I'm also testing out daily pages. So I have these daily pages like dated for the next month to see if I like it, if I like going back to dated pages. And then if I do, I can buy a dated daily planner with the knowledge that I like the dated daily pages and that I know how I will use them. That is what is so good about an undated planner, is you can really experiment and really find your own system for using it without wasting those dated pages. So I love this thing. Ironically, I actually spent about $40 more on planners themselves this year than I did last year. What's missing from this planner lineup that actually totaled the $180, like the common planner, the manager's notebook alone were not $180, is a couple of other planners that I bought in the beginning of 2024 or in the middle of 2024 when my system was really scattered, most notably a Full Focus planner and a couple other things. And those I was using in 2024, but as far as purchases I made in 2024 for 2025, these are my intentional purchases, and I am really, really happy I have them and really happy with them. So it wasn't actually that I spent less, but I spent it more consciously, and that really does feel good. I want to hop in here and talk about saving money because planning isn't the only place I'm trying to be smart with my spending. Today's sponsor, Coupert, is a free browsing extension that is designed to help consumers save money while shopping online. You know that feeling when you're checking out and you're frantically Googling coupon codes that don't end up working anyway? Coupert eliminates that entirely. When you reach a checkout page, it automatically finds and applies the best coupon codes to save you money while online shopping. It literally tests them all for you. But it gets better. Coupert gives you cashback rewards from thousands of retailers. I've been using it on planner supplies, and it's like getting a tiny refund on purchases I was already planning on making. Coupert supports Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Opera, and Safari on desktops. With over 6 million users worldwide, Coupert has become one of the world's most trusted shopping tools online. To try it out, just choose a store, go to the checkout page, and test out the savings. The link is in my description. It takes seconds to install. Thanks again to Coupert for sponsoring. Now let's get back to investigating my spending habits. Now let's talk about what I consider to be completely frivolous spending. Exhibit A, sticky notes. I have an embarrassing number of sticky notes in different colors, in different shapes and sizes, with different templates on them. This thing is a collection of sticky notes too. I got tracing paper sticky notes because I was like, I'll totally use these in books, and I don't use them in books. I don't know. I just got a lot of sticky notes. I'm a sticky note person. This isn't even most of the sticky notes I have in my household, truly. It's just a sampling of what I bought last year to show you. I've convinced myself that buying organizational tools is the same as being organized, but let me tell you guys, it is not. So among the most frivolous purchases in these sticky notes are these book-related ones. I was so confident I would use them that I bought two. They fold into this little book, and it's really cute, but I just never use them. The tracing paper ones, these tabs I do use a bit, but the tracing paper sticky notes I have not used. I really was sure I would use them in books, and I have not used them in books at all. These like memo ones, today's spot, and this was like for like reviewing a movie or a book or something. I've seen so many movies and musicals and concerts and read so many books, and I have never once used these except for like one time, and I literally have not opened these yet. So you can see how much use these are getting. Really not a lot. I do use these tiny sticky notes quite a lot. So I use them, but there's no reason I should have two. Like I should be really running out of one pack before I buy another pack. And I have so many more packs of these. It's just a couple of them. So I'm just gonna try to use up the sticky notes that I have before I buy any more sticky notes, because even this here I think is gonna last me like years to come. I will say I spent next to nothing on stickers for this planner season, which I'm really proud of because I already have so many stickers. Probably like $30 of my expenses was on stickers, but a lot of my expenses were on washi tape here. And if you're in the Coffee Monsters Co. world, you'll notice that some of these are pretty old and I just like still haven't even used them. So again, all this stuff is really adding up, and I have so much of it that I have not used that I need to be very careful in the future about buying like products, because I already have enough of these products to last me a long time. Now let's talk about what really adds up, which is high-end notebook covers. $236 just on covers. That's a third of my total spending. I really love the covers I bought, particularly two of them. So these two covers, this one is from Stride Ridge. I know I've called them Stone Ridge on my channel before, and that's just because I never learned how to read. So Stride Ridge makes these leather covers. They're really nice. They have a nice weight to them. Like the covers feel very sturdy, which I really like. And sometimes leather covers kind of feel floppy in a way I don't like. They do kind of bleed a little bit on your papers, so keep that in mind. But otherwise, really great product. I love the front pouch. I love that it fits my notebook perfectly, and it has this weight. It's like everything I've ever wanted, genuinely. And the seller is so nice. He actually made a mistake on my original order, and with no problem at all, just was able to help me get the correct product I wanted very promptly. So yeah, really, really like this, really happy with this purchase. It just makes my common planner feel like everything I wanted. It's like truly a dream. And then this cover is for my 5-year diary. So this is also one of the products that I bought last year. It's like a $50 planner or something, $80 imported. So yeah, this was a big planner expense, but it already sort of has its own little cover. And I bought a cover for my cover. Hobonichi is kind of famous for their cover-on-cover style, and I have had my eye on the 5-year journal for years, like since I started using Hobonichi back in like 2018 or 2019. So I really have had my eye on this particular red planner cover for this particular journal, and so I actually love it. It's not a planner cover that I regret. It is just something that I love, that I'm really happy to have in my collection now and happy to be using for this specific use case. So these two stand out, 10 out of 10 products. They're what I wanted and I bought them, and I get use out of them every day. The other two covers I bought are also from Hobonichi, and they are not getting a lot of use. They're both kind of impulse purchases, and purchases I told myself I wouldn't make last year. So we're getting some impulse purchases here, but I really like them. I think they're really beautiful. I think this is such a pretty color. I love the Have a Nice Day. This is actually from their 2023 launch, I think, and I bought it on sale in 2024, which was nice. And then this was from their 2024 launch, and I bought this on a whim because I saw it and I was like, oh my god, I love elephants so much, which is a true fact about me. Elephants are one of my favorite animals. Actually, elephants are my favorite animals. I'm coming out as an elephant lover on this channel. This is basically me as a child. So this is like, I look at this and I think cozy, happy vibes, and I'm very happy with this planner cover, but I'm just not using it for anything, which is a real bummer. Even this one sat in my drawer for a long time, and I just barely put an A5 notebook in there that I'm sort of using as a reading journal. So it's slow going with these planners. I think I don't need any more A5 size planners, especially because I'm primarily in B6 size notebooks. So you win some, you lose some. I was really happy with a couple of my purchases, kind of struggled to find use cases for a few other purchases. Ultimately, I really want to use the things I buy, and so having things that are unused just kind of bugs me and makes me feel like it's wasted money. But I know now that I have a spare A5 color cover lying around, so if I have another use case for an A5 journal, I'm going to reach for this cover instead of buying a new one. This one was probably the most expensive cover though. I think it was like 110, 120, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Just go look up Stride Ridge. It's a really good product though, and it is leather, so of course it's going to cost more than like the cloth covers and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of money just to spend on covers, guys. It's a lot. So what have I learned from looking at my planner spending for the past year? First, the biggest costs aren't always what you would expect. I had this impression that I spent all this money on stickers and pens, but it was actually covers and shipping that cost the most for me this year. Second, undated planners are an absolute game changer for me. They removed any pressure and guilt of unused pages, and they helped me experiment a lot without planner hopping. And finally, I've learned that consistency beats fanciness every single time. My favorite and most used products have brought me so much more value than any elaborate experiment I've abandoned. Remember, there is no right amount to spend on planners. It depends on your budget, on your priorities, and how these tools actually serve you in your life. The important thing is being intentional about your purchases and being honest with yourself about what you will actually use. For example, I'm putting a ban on myself for buying sticky notes for like the next 5 years. I have so many sticky notes. If you liked this video, you'll probably like my Hobonichi anti-haul video, which I made last year about all the planners I didn't buy. I will leave that right here on the screen next to my head for your viewing pleasure. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, for being subscribed, for being so awesome. And I will see you in the next one.